The following video is, I'm going to be honest when I say it before you watch this, may upset a whole bunch of you. And frankly, I'm afraid to tell you, honey, it has to happen. So get ready to get terrified. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm MicheleMarieDalene, as I throw this chair here. Okay. We have done many videos. Some of them on the bizarre, some of them on the stupid, some of them kind of a little bit of everything. But today, I'm here to talk to you about something that is downright important, if not downright terrifying. As you know, Saturday, this afternoon, the congressional critters have not yet come up with a solution to the concern of trying to prevent us from hitting credit default. It's got to happen. I've tried to explain this to some people why it must happen. This country has a terminal illness. It's called borrowing money. We borrow money from other countries, pay minimum payments on it, and then we go out there and we ask them to increase our credit spending power so we can borrow more money. The current debt of credit, the current minimum payment for this country is $1.5 billion a year. And yet, that is going to be basically almost the same amount of money as income taxes that come in. Now, let's get a couple things clear, shall we? If I was to do my budget the same way, that is, to take my paycheck, go to my credit card, and ask them to increase my credit limit because I'm near my maximum, expecting that I'm going to be able to keep borrowing money and paying the minimum payment so I can borrow more money. That is suicidal. It's dumb, it's stupid, and it doesn't make any economic sense on the individual level, and it certainly doesn't make any sense on the corporate level either. Our government is a giant diseased creature. It is time to basically put it out of its misery. And just like this tripod here. Okay. Our government has been borrowing money that we will never be able to pay back. Now, yes, everybody talks about how terrible defaulting would be. It's got to happen. It has to happen. We have to default. Because we can't cure the patient of this tragic cancer. And we can't consider using chemotherapy, in this case, shock treatments to the system to cause damage to the cells that create cancer. The same is true with our government spending. We cannot keep going like this. And in fact, going like this would be downright ludicrous and stupid. And yet, every day, I have to sit here and check the camera as we go, but every day as we go through spending money we do not have, okay, everything is okay. Spending money we do not have every day. We act as if we have, our government has an immunity to common sense. This is our deficit. This is their cup of funds. It's kind of empty. Gee, you know what? That is empty. You know what your budget is? You know how much money you have this? You know how much money is going to be taken to fill up this cup? $14 trillion to pay off the principal, which our government does not have. It is time to face the facts, America. It's time to declare bankruptcy and just accept that you have to take your lumps. Our government is not too big to fail. Our government has created this problem over and over again. for the last, since 1917, or if not sooner, before that, when we started creating money spending, Liberty bonds, and everything else. We keep spending more and more money than we have. And that's why we are now in the shitter. It's not because of anything more than simply overspending and for what we take in. And then the federal who does that, for example, because eventually gets so bogged down by credit card debt that they're just struggling just to keep the minimum payments paid. But they keep saying, buy now, pay later. Well, sweetie, it's time to pay. We've already borrowed all we can, and this country has got to stop spending. So it's time to give the patient his first dose of hard reality chemo, because it's the only way you're going to destroy the cancerous credit disease that has affected our country. It's also a good time to remind Americans that you also are going to be taking your own dose of credit chemo as well. It's time to kill this cancer. It's time to destroy it. It's time to eradicate it from the American mind. There is no longer buy now and pay later. That days are gone. Those ended many decades ago. And now we cannot afford it as a country, and we cannot afford it as an individual. It's time to just take our lumps and accept the fact is that we are down Schitt's Creek, and there falls straight ahead, and we don't even have a chance of starting an outboard motor to get out of that mess. I do applaud that Congress and President Obama have done their best, but because this is an effect that is created by the powers to be and is designed to happen, it's predestined. We just might as well accept that it is our own damn fault and accept that we need to just say no more spending. Well, obviously what happens now? We default. Okay, first of all, who's going to get hurt and where? Well, the first people who are going to get hurt are all those people who have money in credits, securities, stocks, mutual funds. Credit collection companies will be the next to be hit hard. The United States government will be surrounded by debt collection from all these other countries, including China. China will eventually decide to file papers and seize control of U.S. assets, being the White House, the Capitol, U.S. installations, the Washington Mall, whatever they can, and they'll become Chinese property. It has to happen because they need to liquidate the assets that they feel can reach their 14-point-X number of trillion dollars so they can finally be financially solvent. That is essential. It's not a choice. You just have to accept that's the way it is. The United States has a huge amount of assets, and unfortunately, many times over and over again, people have gotten kind of thinking that the government was never going to have to worry, so they never considered the fact that they might need to liquidate and sell some of those unused assets. We have many unused military bases that are not being used. Sell them. Make some money. This is the time that we have to finally get the brass tacks. Let me cat out here. You cannot expect that this game is going to go on forever. So the first group of people who are going to get hit hard are the stock brokers, the property developers, the bankers, the big businesses with big bonuses and salaries, i.e. the big shots, the big snots. They're going to be the first to feel the credit crash. The second people who's going to feel the credit crash is politicians, who have their money rolled up in these 401ks and mutual funds and special interest programs from these businesses. Businesses which consist of groups of people, including the mafia and other organized criminals, will take their revenge out on these congressional critters. They have their own militias, they have their own guns, their own military. They will be the first knocking on the door of these people. The second group of people who will be outraged is the elderly and the infirm. The third group of people that are going to be equally upset is the drug sellers, the drug dealers, the landlords who can't get the rents from the tenants, or the drug sellers that can't get their money from their customers to buy their cocaine, heroin, hash, PCP, angel dust, meth, whatever. In fact, it's going to be a cohesive block. It's going to be all of them against a congressional critter. And we are going to stop them down like whack-a-mole. We have to. It's time that we Americans say we need a new government that is based on the Constitution of this country. We, the people, is what our Constitution says. And to form a perfect union. Okay, so it hasn't been perfect. We know that. But you know what? It's because big business has, and credit, and money, and greed, and lust has caused such corruption in Washington, D.C., that it's time to finally clean out that great house. Pick up all the shit that has fallen on the floor from the anal orifices, all the pee from the urinary tracts. It is time to clean that house, Capitol Hill, and put it in order. And the same thing with the White House. I don't think President Obama has any idea of just how much trouble this country is going to be in, unless he honestly can either A, successfully make sure that the people who need the money get the money. But financially, he can't really do that because he doesn't have the money. Unless he can convince the Treasury to make sure that the disabled get their entitlements and the veterans get paid. Oh, let's not forget the veterans, shall we? Because the veterans are just as important. The veterans who served in our wars and who have received veterans benefits, many of them also receive Social Security, are trained military people. They will personally join the revolt, if there is one. And the day is coming. FEMA is preparing for this. National Guard is preparing for this. The question is, are you preparing for this? I have no idea where you are standing, but I'll tell you where I stand. I'm a North American snare queen. My job is predominantly the manipulation of winter weather. Well, this year, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to freeze your ass, okay? I'm not pulling no punches. I am not going to allow the rich snot to sit behind their kerosene heaters and roast their little testicles, and while you freeze your ass. Nuh-uh. I'm going after them. I'm going to freeze their testicles and their ovaries, and I'm going to freeze their earlobes with third-degree frostbite, and I'm going to make their life a living hell. Because I also am sick of it. I'm sick of listening to these people constantly think that they owe us, we owe them everything. No, we don't owe you crap. You got a $787 billion bailout from TARP. You got bonuses to your workers. You have taken advantage of the American Assistance Program. You complain about us being the deadbeats. I'm going to tell you something. You should look at yourself in the mirror sometime. You should be ashamed of yourself for everything you've done. You have failed to realize that the deadbeats here are you. Throw yourself a count of 9,000 blast you and flog yourself. You are the problem. It's not us. We go to work every day. We bring home money. We pay our bills. We quietly watch TV. We don't make trouble. We don't demand corporate bailouts. We don't sit there and try to persuade politicians to do things our way. We don't do any of that. But you dirty scoundrels are always trying to find ways to take advantage of people. And I'm telling you right now, enough is enough. I've had it. And so has the rest of America. And for the rest of you guys, thank you for watching. And please do leave us a comment. I know you've got a lot to say, because you always do. Thank you.